Connecting through pain. Apologies and forgiveness. Mike parked his car outside the coffee shop, his stomach in knots. He hadn't seen his mother, Judy, in years. Their relationship had been strained for decades, a mix of avoidance, resentment, and unspoken grief. But today, at Judy's request, they were going to talk about Scientology and the mess of their shared past. He walked in and spotted Judy immediately. She looked older, smaller than Mike remembered, her gray hair pulled back in the same severe bun she used to wear. But her face softened when she saw Mike, and she smiled hesitantly. "Mike," Judy said, standing to hug him. "Thank you for coming." Mike stiffly hugged her back, the gesture awkward but genuine. "Hi, Judy. I mean, Mom." They sat down, ordered coffee, and waded through the small talk. After a few false starts, Mike decided to rip off the Band-Aid. "So," he said, stirring his coffee, "you said you're finally ready to talk about the past, about what happened." Judy exhaled slowly. "Yes, I think it's time. I've been doing a lot of thinking about those years, about the choices I made." She paused. "I know I hurt you." Mike leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "You did, no doubt," he said flatly. Judy nodded, staring at the table. "When I joined Scientology, I was 20, idealistic, angry at the world. It gave me purpose. It made me feel like I was doing something important, like I could save people. The Sea Organization recruiters told me I'd be part of the most ethical group on the planet, making the world a better place." She looked up, her eyes wet. "And I believed them. I thought I was sacrificing my life for the greater good. I didn't know how much I'd lose." Mike's voice was steady, but edged with bitterness. "You lost yourself. And me." Judy flinched. "I know, but at the time, I didn't see it that way. When I got pregnant with you, I thought I could make it work. They told me it was the best place for kids, the safest, that you'd be protected from drugs, crime, insanity, everything bad. You'd be surrounded by good people who cared. I thought you'd be safe." Mike's laugh was sharp. "Safe? Mom, I was terrified for years, screamed at by strangers in uniforms who didn't care about me. I wasn't a priority to anyone, much less you. Meanwhile, I was told everything was my fault and my responsibility. I didn't feel safe. I felt alone in all of it." Judy's shoulders slumped. "I didn't know, Mike. I swear, I didn't know how bad it was for you. How could you not know?" Mike's voice rose, and heads turned in the coffee shop. He lowered his tone, but the anger was still there. "You visited sometimes, Mom. You saw the way we lived. The unsafe conditions, the squalor, uniforms instead of hugs, labor punishments, shaming, the way we were treated like cattle. You knew, and you looked the other way. All the adults did." Judy wiped her eyes. "I saw it, yes, but I was so brainwashed. I told myself it was for your own good, that you were being taught discipline and to be more capable. And I wasn't with you enough to see the full picture. I was working 18-hour days, Mike. I barely slept. I barely ate. I was so beaten down, I couldn't even think for myself." Mike's voice softened, though the pain still lingered. "I get that. I do. But from where I stood, it felt like you chose them, over me, over and over again. Like you were more loyal to L. Ron Hubbard and his priorities than to your own innocent and completely vulnerable kid." Judy nodded slowly. "That's exactly what I did. Because they told me that being loyal to the group was being loyal to you. They said the work I was doing would make a better world for you, and I believed them, Mike. I really did." Mike leaned forward, his tone raw and vulnerable. "Do you remember when I was in the cadet org and I fell out of a second-story window while cleaning them, and I broke my leg in 2 places? I cried for you for hours, but you never even came to the hospital. I was scared to death, but they just said you were on post and couldn't be disturbed." Judy's hand flew to her mouth, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I didn't know. They didn't tell me at the time, Mike. I swear to you, if I had known." Mike bristled. "You didn't come see me for days, and then you just sided with them, saying I needed to take responsibility for my accident. That's not love. I don't know what it is. Anything you missed or didn't know about me was because you weren't there. You were barely a part of my life at all, and I wasn't even 10 years old," Mike said, his voice breaking. "When I was scared, when I was hungry, when I just wanted my mom, desperate for anyone to care about me. You weren't there for any of it. You were too busy or gone, and all I had were random angry strangers who only cared about what I could produce." Judy was sobbing now. I can't even begin to tell you how sorry I am. I failed you. I let them convince me that the work I was doing was more important than being your mother, that being a parent wasn't important, and I will regret that for the rest of my life. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Mike sighed, wiping his own eyes. I'm sorry for yelling. I've carried this for so long, and it's hard to let it out. You don't have to apologize, Judy said, her voice trembling. You have every right to feel how you feel. I just want you to know that I see it now. I see what I did to you, and I see what they did to both of us. Mike nodded. I get that you were trapped, Mom, and I'm trying to separate you from the system that controlled you. It's just hard, because you were the one who made the choices, even if they weren't really yours. You were an adult, you had power. You just chose to give it away, to them. I never even had that choice. Judy reached across the table, her hand trembling, as Mike pulled his away, painfully. I can't undo what happened, but I want to try to make it better now. Whatever it takes, Mike. Please let me. I'll listen. I'll answer your questions. I'll own my mistakes. Just tell me how to help you heal. Mike hesitated and then carefully reached across the divide and placed his hand over his mother's. Maybe we start with this. Just talking about it, hearing each other. It doesn't fix everything, but it's a start. Judy nodded, tears still streaming. I'll do whatever it takes. I just want you to know how much I love you. I always have, even when I didn't show it. Mike squeezed his mother's hand. I love you too, Mom. Even when I wanted to hate you, I still loved you. I think that's why it hurts so much. And for the first time in years, they both felt like healing might be possible. A glimmer of hope. Real healing starts with being vulnerable, facing shared pain with honesty, and really listening. It means revisiting tough memories and confronting hard truths together and setting aside defenses, even if it's difficult. Connecting through pain comes from seeing things through each other's eyes, taking responsibility for your actions, and trusting in compassion and empathy. A real, honest-to-goodness apology can help inspire forgiveness. It can create a miraculous path to healing that's both powerful and deeply meaningful, that could otherwise feel completely elusive, even impossible. Try leaning into vulnerability when you can, and even meeting in the middle. You just might experience some well-deserved closure, or at least a little more understanding, and the truth is, every bit helps.